The hot spot was I was making that movie in Austin, Texas. And there was an occurrence that happened. My daughter, Dakota, was born while I was making that movie. And I remember, I was living pretty large back then, so I remember being down there and shooting with Dennis. I think that's what pissed Dennis off, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. I had my helicopter down down in Austin. Dennis didn't have a helicopter. I had my helicopter down there because Melanie was pregnant, and I might get called at any time to go to the hospital, and it's weeks away, but I had my helicopter. Fly around and look at the locations, to get to the locations and stuff like that. Anyway, we were shooting down in the outside of Austin and kind of the low country of the hill country. And it was about an hour out of Austin, and I get this call, and they tell me Melanie's in labor, and I said, okay, great. I said, so I had some sort of code about, well, when she gets this many minutes of art, let me know, and when she gets, so because we were shooting, so I just, and then I'll just buzz up there, we'll have a baby, and I'll come back. She was my third. I was an old hand by then. And so I get in the helicopter, I go up, I land on top of the hospital, and of course the hospital has security up there, and they have armed guards and shit, and I'm going, Jesus, it's just for a baby, And anyway, so we go in there, and I get hustled down the stairs, and I walk into the birthing room where Melanie is, and I just told my son Alexander this story. I don't think I'd ever told him. And I walk into the birthing room, and Melanie had built a pyramid out of every item in the hotel room. And she was sitting on top of the pyramid, at the top of the ceiling, determined to have natural childbirth. Meanwhile, the doctors are coming in and trying to get a monitor on the baby's head, while she's still in the womb, so they can keep track of the heartbeat. And so, I finally talked Melanie to come down off the pyramid so that we can get that done. And now she just wants to be in the shower with the water running over her. Okay, fine, great. So the heartbeat keeps dropping and it gets dropping dangerously low. So so he says, listen, we're gonna have to go in and get this baby. And I said, well, okay, let's do what you gotta do. But why don't we give her an epidural, the thing that she's been denying and saying no to for the last 2 hours or whatever, 3 hours, 5 hours, and give her an epidural and see if she relaxes enough to have the baby naturally. And because Dakota's hand was stuck between her face and the umbilical cord, and it was pressing up against the uterine wall. Too much information, but anyway, so they gave her an epidural, and they're wheeling her in there. And let me tell you something. I've never seen so many doctors in one room in my life, because at the time Melanie and I were kind of famous, and this was a famous baby, and continues to be so. And there were neurologists in there, and brain surgeons, and there was like all these people in the room. There were like 20 specialists in the room, and because they didn't know what was going to happen if they do a C-section, and what are we going to? What's happening here? Is there going to be brain damage? Is there from the drop in the blood pressure and all that stuff? And so, sure enough, I got him to give her the epidural, and as soon as he gave her the epidural, we wheeled her into the operating theater, and she's in there, and I'm watching the monitor, and the monitor is going 90, or whatever the numbers were, 90, 10. I think a baby is supposed to be born around 150 or 160, something like that. Anyway, she was not near that, but she we're getting there, it's like 110, 120, and the doctor, whose name was Noble Doss. Love that name. He was from Texas boy. He goes, well, by God, let's have us a baby. Sure enough, so, and I've been there for the birth of all my kids, and so, you know, about 20 minutes later, I'm like, put her right there, old girl. And she did, and Dakota was born.